We'll call the Town Plan and Zoning Commission regular meeting of Wednesday, July 26th to order. Let's please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could the secretary please read the roll?
Chairman Aida.
Here.
Commissioner Camillo.
Here.
Commissioner Claffey.
Here.
Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Payne.
Here.
Commissioner Sierra. Commissioner Sobieski. Commissioner Battalica. Commissioner Giangrave. Commissioner Fox.
Here.
Mike, the last time you sat in for Minor, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to sit in for Commissioner Minor again. So it's consistent, even though Bob is not here. Mr. Planner, approval of the agenda?
I have no changes.
Okay. Public participation, anyone from the public wishing to speak at this time? Please come forward, state your name. Seeing none. Remarks by commissioners, any remarks at this time? Okay. There is no public hearings tonight. Can we have approval of the minutes of July 12th? Yes,
I have a question on one of my remarks in the minutes, page 16.
Okay. Go ahead.
It's not completely accurate. I did say that at the time that the current study they presented at the time showed less 532 cars. And it's not really everything I said in that discussion, so I think you had to revisit the tape.
Okay, so what the minutes in front of us have you say is, if we were to look at how many cars drive over that street, I drive it every day. This study shows 532 cars. How many cars go in and out across the street and are not even aware that we want this right in? So what's incorrect about that? And we'll change it now.
It was more in depth on the study. It got more in depth of the old study to the new study, and the new study they presented is 532 less cars than the original amount. And I don't know how I specifically said right in, but it had more to do with the amount of cars that come in and out of the property across the street without any problems so far recently.
Okay, well then I recommend we table it for now so we can, so the clerk and I can go back and fix that and then bring it back to you at the next meeting.
Fine.
New business, there's no new business, Mr. Planner?
Correct.
Okay. We'll go into old business. Dominic, you want to read the first petition 2117 for the record?
Petition 21-17, special permit, section 3.2.4, senior assisted living at 751 Russell Road, HDC 1 LLC, owner applicant John Kozalski, CME Associates Incorporated, 33 Wilbur Crossway, Mansfield, Connecticut. Contact.
Okay, I'll turn it over to the town planner for his remarks.
All right, my sense from the last meeting after the hearing was closed was that the commission was basically satisfied with the information presented as part of the public hearing for the special permit as opposed to the site plan. So in my memo to the commission, I list the 5 special circumstances that every special permit has to satisfy the commission regarding, and if the chairman likes, I'll read them now.
Would you please, Mr.
Okay.
Planner?
All right, I'll read the whole paragraph. Section 5.2.6 of the zoning regulations requires the TPC. I'm sorry, hang on a second. Let me let the audience see what I'm reading. Okay. Section 5.2.6 of the zoning regulations requires the TPZ to consider several specific criteria before approving a special permit application and to record its findings in the record of the meeting. Those criteria are presented below with my suggested findings. A, the need for the proposed use in the proposed location. Finding, during the public hearing, the applicant stated that there is a shortage of senior assisted living facilities in the area and that there are no senior assisted living facilities with memory care units in Newington. B, the existing and probable future character of the neighborhood in which the use is located. Finding, this is a commercial area, so the proposal is consistent with the existing and future character of the neighborhood. C, the size, type, and location of main and accessory buildings in relation to one another and in relation to other structures in the vicinity. Finding, according to the site plan submitted in connection with this application, the two buildings have an appropriate relationship to each other and to other structures in the vicinity. D, traffic circulation within the site, amount, location, and access to parking and traffic load or possible circulation problems on existing streets or proposed streets and driveways, considering impact on existing streets are affected, period. For large-scale retail developments in excess of 40,000 square feet of gross floor area, a traffic impact analysis report with proposed mitigation measures shall be submitted with the application. Finding, during the public hearing, a concern was raised about conflicts between traffic in the right-hand westbound lane trying to get to Health Tracks and traffic in the left-hand westbound lane trying to enter the site via the East Cedar Street entrance. The owner of Jensen Machine also raised a concern over trucks from his property conflicting with vehicles leaving the site. A traffic review was submitted by the applicant that addressed these concerns. Also, this project will require approval by the Office of the State Traffic Administration, OSTA, which is the appropriate agency to address these issues. E, availability of public water and sewer, and possible overloading of water and sewage systems, and the adequacy of the existing off-site stormwater system serving the property to safely accommodate any increase in drainage. Finding, the site receives water and sanitary service from the Metropolitan District Commission. F, location and type of display signs, lighting and landscaping, and the impact of type signs on adjacent properties. Finding, this is a commercial area, so the display signs, lighting, and landscaping will not have any impact on adjacent properties. G, safeguards to protect adjacent property and the neighborhood in general from detriment, including but not limited to proper buffering. Finding, this is a commercial area, so no buffering is warranted. And for the Commission's use, I enclosed a draft suggested motion.
Okay. I'll open it up to the Commission for comments and any questions of the planner or Stan. Go ahead.
Chairman Aida, I still am concerned with the traffic movement. I understand it's a state highway, and I understand that. I'm just concerned with the pressure that you're going to put on the intersection. I think there's a different way where the driveway should be relocated, or should have been. It's only a suggestion, but my opinion, you're going to have a problem up there because you only got 300 feet or 350 feet of weaving roadway on 175. At 30 miles an hour, 300 feet goes awful fast. The letter that was submitted from the engineer by Dave Sawicki up at the STC said from the nose of the island to where that driveway was is 500 feet. However, there's a solid white line strongly suggests you do not cross it, which then reduces it to 350. Other than that, I think it's a worthwhile project. I'd like to see it go forward. I'm just concerned with the traffic flow in the intersection up there and the safety.
And how would you suggest that we remedy that at this point through this commission?
My strong suggestion would be to look at the driveway on Russell Road and put more emphasis on that driveway. And then when it goes to see what the STC has to say, because again, vehicles are going to be coming out of that driveway, coming down about 50 feet, crossing, getting onto the on-ramp to go across the bridge to come off to get on 175. I think there has to be some type of setup in there so that it's not going to be conflicting with what the traffic movements there now. So any suggestion, I would look at that. That's why I was kind of, wanted to keep it open just a little longer to see what changes the applicant was going to put in on that. Thank you.
Commissioner Camillo.
I like the project. I'd like to see it go forward also. The traffic, yes, I take that on-ramp a lot now. And if there was another lane to the right for the entrance to come in, just make it a little wider so the cars could go to the right if they're going to enter that'd be great. That's up to the state. That's not up to us. It's just, I'd like to see that too. And when you're coming out, a right exit only, maybe the same thing, have it a little wider so the cars could sit there instead of just pulling out into traffic. Give them a little buffer time.
Commissioner Claffey.
I like the project. I think if there was such a major problem with the traffic up there, with the amount of cars that go up and over there and go in and out of the existing businesses, there'd be some more merit to what's being discussed tonight, but this was discussed over a year ago, and we're still debating it, but the state, no other business up there complaining of traffic. No other business up there has a right-in or their own separate deceleration lane to get into their business. So, my comments.
Commissioner Payne.
Yeah, I'll agree with my fellow commissioners. This is an excellent project. When you come down to it, though, the basics of the traffic problem, it's out of our authority. That's going to be the state that will make recommendations for the developer. They have the staff and the technology to be able to handle that, and I think that it's out of our hands. And I'm sure the state of Connecticut will make it a safe entrance and exit there for this nice business that's coming to our town.
Commissioner Fox.
You know, I also think it's a good project, a great project, but like Commissioner Sobieski and Commissioner Camillo, I am worried about the traffic, about that short short distance where you have to get over to get into the driveway, and I'm also worried about that New Island itself. Not that this would have anything to do with it, but I think there's been about 2 or 3 accidents even since they put that thing in. So, yeah, but like Commissioner Payne says, it's a state road, so I'm sure they'll do the right thing. Let's say I hope they'll do the right thing.
Okay. Unfortunately, if I thought that we could only have one entrance into this project, I would suggest that it be on Russell Road. But I believe that this project warrants having 2 entrances and exits. We're limiting them on Cedar Street in, right out. So that's a help. But I think we have to give it to the state and let them come back and work with the developer, and if they need it, if the state says they need a light, then they'll have to put a light. If the state says they have to do some different kind of road improvements, they'll have to do those road improvements. It's basically up to the state of Connecticut to determine and make sure that that's a safe entrance and exit. If they feel that the Cedar Street entrance and right in, right out is not going to be safe, then they should work with the developer and come up with an alternate plan. But I don't, from our perspective, I think that we need 2 entrances, one on Russell and one on, hopefully that they would use the Russell Road more than the one on Cedar Street. It's unfortunate that we can't get a breakdown lane, at least for the right in, you know, a queuing lane.
You're talking a decel lane.
A decel lane. There's not enough room there, I don't think.
State right-of-way is large enough to put a decel lane in, but again, what you're going to be doing is crossing here to this merging, going this way, and then to the decel lane, crossing 3 lanes instead of 2.
The whole intersection there is a bad situation. It's been that way for years, but we can't stifle development on this piece of property because of the roadway. I mean, it's up to the state to make that a safe, to do whatever they have to do to make it safe. I know they did improvements to the intersection of Russell Road and Cedar, but I don't know if that's adequate enough. I mean,
It's not backing up on 5 and 15 anymore. during rush hour. It's nice. And it actually flowing past that, where everybody was looking, where do I go?
Yeah. From the traffic report and from the information that we got from the engineer, the amount of people going in and out of there and the times, I mean, it wasn't significant in my estimation. I mean, we're talking small numbers. I'm just going to have to wait and see what the state of Connecticut's going to.
Right. As I said, you asked for my concern. That
Yes,
was my concern.
and I have the
I
same
think it's
concerns you
I think
do,
it's a
Stan.
worthwhile project. I think it, it would be a boom to the town. It would be a big plus and everything else. That's my only concern I have.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, can I entertain a motion
go ahead.
for petition 21-17, special permit section 3.2.4, senior assisted living at 751 Russell Road, HDC 1 LLC, owner applicant, John Kozowski, CME Associates Incorporated, 33 Wilbur Crossway, Mansfield, Connecticut. Contact. I move to approve petition 21-17, special permit, section 3.2.4, senior assisted living at 751 Russell Road, HDC 1 LLC, owner and applicant, John Kozowski, CME Associates Incorporated, 33 Wilbur Crossway, Mansfield, Connecticut, with no conditions.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments or? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll move on to the next portion of 2217, the site plan.
Petition 22-17, site plan approval, senior assisted living at 751 Russell Road, HTC 1 LLC, owner applicant, John Kozowski, CME Associates Incorporated, 33 Wilbur Crossway, Mansfield, Connecticut. Contact.
Mr. Planner?
Okay, the applicant's engineer is here, and I know he wants to make a presentation, but I'll just briefly say that the staff received revised plans on Friday. The engineering technician has spent the last 2 days going through them, mainly working on the drainage calculations. He was not able to finish. I spoke to the consulting engineer for the town about it this afternoon, and I asked the consulting engineer if he had any objection to the commission approving the plans with the condition that the plans, before the chairman signs them, that the plans be revised to satisfy all staff comments. And Mr. Bernaschi, the town's consulting engineer, had no objection to that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Parent, the engineer for the applicant.
Okay. This is not, we've already heard this, so this is new information that you're giving the commission.
Well, he's probably going to talk about the revisions to the plans that he's made.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. That should be on the record. Thank you.
For the record, Pete Parent, professional engineer at CME Associates. And Craig's going to pull up.
I'm going to
some
try.
plans here.
I'm technology challenged. Okay, that looks like it. Okay, yeah, good. All right, which of these do you want me to
So
open up?
the 2017-0719 Newington plan set. Yeah. And Craig, if you just want to go to the fourth sheet, I think it is the drainage sheet, and I'll just run through the changes we made to the LID stuff. One more.
Oops, sorry. Shouldn't have done that. That's what I should have done. Okay, which, I know, one
So
more.
just one more
yep.
sheet, yeah.
Yeah, which area do you want me to zoom in
So
on?
if you want to zoom into the left-hand side first, and we'll walk our way from there. So in response to some of the comments we received from the review engineer and town staff, we added this rain garden area to the, I believe that's the north of that parking area. That's going to collect a portion of the independent living building roof and obviously the grassed area immediately adjacent to it. South of the parking lot, we've added these provisional parking spaces and a water quality swale along the edge to collect the runoff from that roadway and treat it before discharging it to the overall drainage system. This area still incorporates the tree wells that we had originally proposed, and the underground detention system is still located in here to detain the overall peak flows from the site. Craig, if you want to scroll to the right there. And then up.
Sorry.
No?
No, I keep clicking the wrong button. It's the wheel that I want to do.
And then the other low-impact development area that we've added here is this large island. We've made a large wetland rain garden area to collect the traffic circle at the independent living building and the 2 parking areas adjacent to it. And in speaking with the review engineer and town staff, that addressing these low-impact development things were the main concerns. The other comments were generally notes and small revisions, and I believe we've addressed everything. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But
Commissioner Payne.
Yeah. Does that mean that there's no curbing on that edge there, so the water can flow into the that detention area?
correct, there's flush curb on the west and east ends of that island, essentially the long straight sections of the dog bone shape.
Thank you.
Any other questions for,
Is the same on the other parking area with a clear, like gravity fed? No curb on that
So
Cedar Street side?
on the south side, there's no curb on the drive aisle there, correct?
No, just wheel block or whatever they're called.
Right.
Okay.
On the north side, that area is curbed because that portion of the parking area goes into the tree
Gotcha.
wells.
Gotcha, okay.
any other questions? You all set? Mr. Planner?
Yes.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve with conditions petition 22-17, site plan approval of senior assisted living at 751 Russell Road, HDC 1 LLC, owner applicant John Kozowski, CME Associates Incorporated, 33 Wilbur Crossway, Mansfield, Connecticut. Contact conditions. 1, the site plans shall be revised to address the comments of the acting town engineer dated July 10th, 2017 to his satisfaction. 2, the site plans shall be revised to address the comments of the town planner dated July 9th, 2017 to his satisfaction. And 3, the site plans shall be revised to include 30 additional spaces of deferred parking.
Okay, motion made, is there a second? Okay. Motion made, second, any discussion on the motion?
You want to talk about the revised or the
What's
deferred
number,
parking?
item 3,
Yeah.
what's a deferred parking? Where is that located? And I just never heard that till tonight,
Right.
so.
That's, he showed that that's the parking along Cedar Street, I believe.
Yeah, but let's talk about that a little bit. The consulting engineer has a lot of experience designing elderly housing projects, and it was his opinion, which he admitted was his opinion, that our regulations are actually kind of light on the amount of parking for a facility of this type. So he suggested, while he was holding the applicant's arm behind him, that they show future possible additional parking. If in the future it turns out they don't have enough parking, there'll be places that are already sort of set aside for future parking if it becomes necessary in the future. And they're showed in these
Okay,
grayed out.
So those are,
Those, yes,
They're not constructed, they're just
correct.
here. If we need them in the future, this is where we would put them.
It would be-
that-
That
would
where
be
the
a
applicant
grass-
would put
That
them.
would be a grassed area.
but that brings back the question, I thought that was what you were talking about earlier, about what was changed, that bottom where those, right where your cursor is.
Right.
Are those,
Well, this drainage swale,
I thought that was what we were just talking about, what was changed.
yes, this drainage swale is new from the plans that you saw the last time. What's also new are these future parking spaces, new to the plan.
So the previous question of where I asked where those parking things were on the north or the south side now, is that the lot north of where the cursor is right now?
Oh, I thought, and maybe Mr. Parent thought you were talking about this curb
No,
here.
I was talking about the
You were talking
bottom.
about,
No,
So those aren't parking spaces.
okay, well, let Mr. Parent speak to that.
Future.
They're future parking. Then there's no curb on the drive aisle there to allow water to run over what will be a grassed area
Okay,
now, but
gotcha,
could be
gotcha,
future parking.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
no curb here.
So that's what deferred parking, okay, future parking.
Yes.
So that's the dotted line. And those are the only spots, those two on the left and the long swale in the earth.
Well, these four here, and these, what, 15, 18 down here, something like that?
I believe we provided 30 in total, so there'll be 22 down there.
Okay.
Was that level with Cedar Street, or how many feet off the curb of Cedar Street?
It's
Is that
it's
future?
it's elevated from Cedar Street approximately 2 to 4 feet, depending on where you are.
Clear from the roadway, you can't drive straight in without hitting a berm.
No.
Okay, gotcha. Just think it'd be a little weird. Okay, thank you for the explanation.
I'm
good.
You upset with that?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Everybody have an understanding what he's talking about? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Start digging, put the foundation in. Okay. Next order of business is petitions for public hearing scheduling. Mr. Planner.
Yeah, let me just kick this out here so I can give Mr. Parent his. Oh, yes, need to close it first.
It races. You don't hit the curb and it goes right into the swale. I'll be up there once you come out.
Petitions for public hearing scheduling.
Right, the Chick-fil-A plans have been submitted. They require 2 special permits. The first one is for the drive-through itself, and so I recommend the public hearing be scheduled for that at your next meeting. And they're also applying for the special permit for the freestanding sign. So that also requires a public hearing. So I recommend these be scheduled now for your next meeting, August 9th.
Okay. And anyone see a problem with that?
Nope.
What else we have on that, the sign thing?
Oh, the sign, yes, the sign, the
So
temporary
the
sign
and then
regulation.
just this?
And then these 2, yes.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, town planners report.
Okay, actually, well, 2 items on the report. A third one that I want to just mention. Robert Dementa, who owns Modern Tire, a couple of months ago sent you a letter asking some questions about how the auto-related use regulation works as far as his property is concerned. And the letter was distributed at that meeting. Unfortunately, however, the back page was not. The commission discussed the entire letter, although it didn't have the back page. Mr. Armenta asked me the other day to make sure that the commission members all had both pages of the letter. I sent them around by email, I think yesterday, so you should now have both pages of the letter that he sent back in May. All right, so just a little housekeeping there. Okay, now going on to my report, and I'll just read it, it's just a couple sentences. At the last meeting, the commission agreed by consensus to adopt the zoning ticket process suggested by Town Attorney Ben Ancona. Since the CEO's ability to issue citations, fines, comes from a town ordinance and not the zoning regulations, the existing citation ordinance needs to be amended by the town council. Attached is the ordinance amendment drafted by Town Attorney Ancona. Also attached is a draft suggested motion to ask the town council to do so.
That's something we want to take up now.
Yes, I don't know if you need to discuss it a lot now. You've been discussing it several times with the attorney over the last couple of months. This is the step to make it happen.
Okay, so,
Mr. Chairman, I move to request the Newington Town Council amend Section 91.9, procedure for the issuance of citations, and Section 91.10, compliance periods after a citation is issued to establish a zoning ticket enforcement process.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? You all know what we're talking about. We've been working on this for quite some time. So we're going to send it, with this motion, we will be sending it to the town council for their action. Commissioner Camillo.
One thing I haven't seen or heard about, you get a ticket, what will the fine be?
Oh, that's the same. It's theoretically $100 a day per violation.
Where's that? In here?
It's in, yeah.
And did we
Let's see.
come up with a fee for the permit for the signs yet?
No.
Well, that's very complicated and different, so
Okay.
hold that
Because I've
thought.
been getting phone calls and I don't know, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, the fine,
When we do the,
Fine for the ticket is $150 per citation.
yeah, I'm looking for that. Commissioner Payne, do you know which paragraph is that?
C.
Paragraph C. Oh, there we go. Yep. The fine for each violation shall be $150.
we
Now-
could, when we do the sign, when the sign regulation comes for the temporary sign, we'll just,
Okay.
you could bring up about the fee.
Yeah, the application
That's
fee.
the time to bring it up.
So, just so I'm hearing this right, so the 91-9 procedure for issuance of citations, ZEO, the ZEO is just issuing like a warning, and then goes into 72 hours. And then, where's the procedure if
What? No, not exactly. No. Under the current system, he first issues a warning, and if within 3 days the applicant, or not the applicant, the individual hasn't addressed the issue, the situation, then the ZEO issues a citation, and the person has a certain number of days after that to come into compliance, and if not, then the next step happens.
So is it all the ZEO able to hand a citation?
What's your question?
I don't see where it says that,
Shall deliver, okay.
He can't
Within,
hand them the ticket yet.
By hand delivery.
but you're saying,
There, under 91-9, section 1.
right, if you, paragraph
hand
C.
delivery of the warning. I'm talking the,
Oh,
can
we're
he
back.
hand deliver a citation?
Warning
C
is
is-
the ticket.
No, that's
No,
not
no,
what
no,
this
the warning's
reads.
something different.
Warning's different.
Yeah, the warning is paragraph A. Paragraph A is the agent may, used to be shall, but now it's going to be optional. The ZEO may issue a warning first, and the violator has 72 hours to comply with the warning that he's received. But the ZEO does not have to, under this change, the ZEO can go straight to C, issuing a citation either by hand or by delivery, by mail.
Okay, but it doesn't read that way. Where does it
Okay.
say that they can automatically, because I thought what the point to this was to get immediate action for the violation.
Okay, good, then I'll try to be more clear. Under the current provision, the ZEO can first issue a warning,
Yeah.
consider it informal. But under the new situation, or under the current situation, he has to issue the warning first. And if the person does nothing within 72 hours, then the ZEO issues the citation. And then after the citation has been issued, if the person doesn't fix within, I think it's 3 days. Well, actually, it varies depending on how complicated the violation is.
But they can hand that, so if you have violation at your property, I give you a warning on Monday, I come back Thursday,
You could issue a ticket.
and I hand deliver, and it's stated
Yes.
there that can be done.
Yes.
Where is that?
See the second line from the bottom. Citations shall be issued by the ZEO or his agent by hand or by delivery to the abode, business office, whatever. So by hand means handing it to the violator.
His written notice have not been, but it says if the violation set forth in his written notice have not been corrected.
He may issue a citation Keep reading that same,
Thing is, we're still getting a delay in compliance.
but not necessarily, because now, under this system, he doesn't have to issue the warning. He can go straight to C. He can go, I know maybe it's not worded exactly clearly.
That's what I'm getting at, because.
But I'm telling you,
I don't
but this
want
is-
it back here like we had on Francis Avenue, where it took months upon months because someone hired an attorney
Mm-hmm.
who knew the law better than we did.
Right, and that
That's
attorney.
what this is trying to stop.
Right, but if an attorney tries to say, you didn't give my client a warning, you issued a citation right away, the response is, well, that's because, Mr. Attorney, the law no longer says shall, the law now says may. It's at Mike's discretion whether he's going to issue a warning or not. Whether he's going to issue the warning because he knows the person maybe didn't do it on purpose, the person's in good faith, Mike gets a good vibe, Mike will issue the warning first. But if for whatever reason Mike decides to go straight to the citation, he'll be able to do that under this change.
Chronic abuser, he doesn't have to give the warning.
Right.
I know it, I understand it, but am I just not seeing that?
No, I think, through the chairman, I think what the planner is saying, the word may is really the key there.
Yeah, but
He may issue a warning, or if it's as Commissioner Payne said, a chronic abuser, he may issue a citation.
No, it says his or his agent may issue a written warning to any person.
May. Doesn't mean he
It's gonna,
has to.
yeah, but it's,
Commissioner Sobieski.
I just have, has Attorney Ancona looked at this?
This is his.
This is his,
So therefore, if he's comfortable with it, I guess we should be. That's my only.
well,
that's
I say I'm not comfortable because I used to do this.
Okay. I
And
haven't,
if
so
I had a chronic violator in a community, if it be as I was a building inspector, a code enforcement officer, anyone who can write a fine right then and there, it doesn't,
he has the option now. The way that it is, he has the option. If it's a chronic guy, he can skip the warning and he can go directly to issuing a ticket. Okay, and so he may issue a warning, or if he knows he's a chronic thing, he can skip down to C. He has the authority now.
say it.
By changing the wording on may, he doesn't have to give the
You go
warning
to
out.
see if it says, if the violation is set forth
But
in the
doesn't-
written notice. That would say that I had to give you a written notice that you're in violation.
Don't have to give the written notice. You can go right to a citation. That's what it's saying. Down in C, you can go right to a citation, give them a citation to be fined.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, I think it doesn't explicitly state that you may go directly to C. It's implicit in the word may. That's not, that's just,
I understand, but it doesn't say that the ZEO can automatically issue a ticket.
Yes, it does.
Written
May,
warning,
it may issue a written warning.
that's a
He
warning.
doesn't have to. He can go right to the,
Well, how about if I ask the town attorney to put some words into paragraph C to address Commissioner Claffey's point? Because if Commissioner Claffey's bringing it up here, he's right. Some guardhouse lawyer is going to play games with this too. So let's cut
hate
that
to-
off for the past by
No,
putting
it's
a
all
few
right.
words
No,
in here.
Don't feel like that. If, you know, you used to do this for a
did it.
living.
Yeah,
so
we can have
why
this
don't you
for the next
have the town attorney clean that up a little bit and then send it to the council,
Yes.
okay? And he doesn't have to come back to us. Have him clean, you know what we're talking about. Have him clean it up and send it to the council. Okay, Anthony?
No, I would like it to match, which the attorney addressed last meeting, to match like New Britain. And I knew New Britain can come out and put a fine right on your door, and you don't have to be there.
Right.
And they do it on all their overgrowth and all their high grass and dump and trad. They just put it on the front door. It says to occupant owner, and off they go. And they attach it right to that lien.
There's no warning at all?
They can either do a warning on the ticket, but when they attach it, they can say fine or warning. It looks just like a police ticket book.
That's
And
what it's gonna be
Yeah,
like.
so he can just put it on the door.
That's exactly what it's gonna be like. He'll have an option box, so it's either a warning or a ticket.
Okay.
It's exactly how it.
And let me just, I don't want to belabor this, but would the ticket have the fine amount on it somewhere? Or
Yeah.
the warning would
Yeah, it
have.
would say like
That's what I'm asking.
32-5,
Yep.
check, and it'll say $50, $100, warning.
That's all I was wondering, just
Yeah,
like a
that's-
regular, like a regular ticket I used to.
Because
All right.
sometimes some courts will look at it and say, you have to hand deliver it to the violators. I think New Britain has it where they just put it on the property and off they go, and the violation stands.
Okay, is that clarified? Okay, you know what you have to do, Mr. Prince? Okay, thank you. Next item is,
It was made and seconded, that was
okay, made
discussion.
and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry. I got so involved, I forgot about voting for it.
Okay, and the last item, I'm going to, going the wrong way here. I'm going to be on vacation the fourth week in August. So what I'm suggesting the commission do is reschedule your fourth Wednesday meeting to the fifth Wednesday, because there are 5 Wednesdays in August this year. So I'm recommending you do that. You don't need to vote on it, just tell me that you agree that this makes sense, and I'll
Not a problem.
file the necessary paperwork.
Have anyone have any problem with changing it? You do, Anthony?
Wednesday?
Yes.
That's
Okay, thank you.
Wednesday, August 30th.
30, yes.
That's fine. First day of
Okay,
school.
good. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we're going to make that change.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Okay, next item is communications. Any communications other than the CROG referrals?
No.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
I know I sent you, Dominic, Mike, and Mike Fox. I don't have Anthony's email address, so if he could write it down or email me directly so I could send him the reports like I do with you. Okay?
I get
Okay,
them
yeah.
from him. Or
Oh,
do you-
I get 'em-
Oh,
I
you
get 'em-
give, oh,
I get
Yeah,
them
I'll get 'em
monthly.
to you.
And the only thing Craig sends you is stuff that applies, so.
I'll get you some.
Either that or I'll give you my email address to send me your email and I'll put it on. Because yours is the only one I don't have.
Okay, next item is public participation. Gail, you all set? I'm fine. Go back in.
Thanks. Oh, I'm all set.
Thank you. Remarks by commissioners. Stanley.
Couple questions, please,
Yeah.
of both you and the planner. Do you know what's going on at the old mobile station on the
I
Berlin?
was going to bring that up. It's been like that for,
I'm sorry,
there hasn't
I
been
didn't-
any activity at that mobile station for
Why, I saw.
like a
I saw-
month.
Well, I thought I saw some additional rock dumped in there next to the tanks.
Yeah.
When I went by the other day.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if there's, do you know what, there's going to be another type of filling station there or whatever?
Yeah, right. I know that the zoning officer and the building department know about it because I've heard them just talk about it, but I don't know the details myself. But yes, they are preparing it to reopen as a gas station.
And the other question is, on the news the other day, you might have heard that the governors said that most of the rail line is two-track territory now, almost up to Hartford. And they've opened the Wallingford, Berlin, and another station, with additional stations to be built, including the one in Newington. Have you heard anything from DOT at all?
No, I've heard no timetable as to when they think it's going to be finished. Every year or so, I hear that an additional amount of money has been appropriated for the design, but we still don't know when it's
The
going
rail
to.
will be done by the end of.
Oh, the
of this
tracks. I
year.
thought you meant the
Sure,
Newington
right.
station.
No, the station is what I'm referring to. The rail is something totally different.
Right.
I was just wondering if they had gotten funding yet, or if you've heard if they got funding for the additional stations.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
but as you probably know, projects like this get funded in dribs and drabs. They get enough money to design it to 25%, then the stars line up and the legislature deigns to give them enough money to now design it to the 75% level. So I think we're at the 75% level. So it's a work in progress, but I have not been able to get any date from anybody as to when they think it'll be finished.
All right, and the other quick question is, have you heard anything about any more, about Myricone Way, that area down there? Is anybody interested in there at all? Have we heard anything on that TOD zone that we created? I'm just wondering. I mean, I've heard the hotel, then I heard no. Apartment house, then I heard no. I heard there's gonna be a parking garage that the state was gonna give them money to build and the state was gonna buy it back. So I mean, I don't know.
Are you talking about the town-owned parcel or the rest of the property?
No, town-owned parcel, that's what I was after.
Well, as everybody knows, the EDC put out a request for interest or something like that, and there were two responses. One was an apartment building, and the other was a hotel. I don't know what the status is of it. Maybe Mr. Fox could tell us. But as far as I know, the hotel is the preferred was the preferred response. So, but I don't know anything more than anyone else that reads the papers about that.
The council sent in for a grant for the project for the parking, I believe. They
Yes.
applied for a grant for the parking, so I would imagine it's in a standstill for a little while until they hear from them on the grant for the parking area.
Is that for the proposal or for the actual structure itself?
It's
I mean, I don't know,
for,
I'm asking a question.
it's a grant, I believe, for the developer for the parking areas to make the project work. And then they'll come in and probably present a plan after they get all those details worked out.
Right, and if the grant's denied, then he builds a smaller garage structure,
Correct.
parking structure.
Thank you, that's all I need.
Anthony?
Question, when Tilcon came in to renew their permit, I had mentioned to the gentleman who sat here about seeing if you could get them to clean up their Mountain Road side of their property. And maybe the CEO can make a phone call, and they have a lot of their brush that's growing over Mountain Road, over the curb. I don't know if it's whose property it is. I would assume it's theirs. It's the whole length of their property on Mountain Road, from the
In
corner.
front of the fence to the road?
Yeah, all that.
That's town, I believe it's town.
I don't know whose it is. Is it our property? Is it theirs? I mean, it's like the trees are growing over the curb, the
They should be-
grass is long. I mean, the grass is like 2 feet to 3 feet tall in some areas. And I just asked, I know they had problems with kids breaking in. There's a lot of kids in that neighborhood. It's just starting to look like an eyesore. If it's ours, we should take care of it. If it's not, let's get them to do it.
Okay, we'll look into it.
It's no, I mean,
Commissioner Fox?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, speaking of Tilcon, I've been getting calls and questions if I stop by a certain a certain repair shop there who has always been complaining. Evidently, there's fugitive dust again. Like, we had a big problem, which was why the Bath Town Committee was started. And evidently,
They're not.
it's happening again. I think they
Hang on, Mike. Let her change the tape.
it seems like they might have removed the dust bags or they're just not working. So I don't know, is there anything we can,
I can talk to the town manager about it.
okay,
Well,
thank you.
when you talk to Tilcon, obviously, they're not watering possibly as much, so maybe they need to increase the water control.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that can be the only thing because they're really inoperable now, so, but,
Okay, I'll look into that.
Yeah, they're mostly doing it at night. They've got a paving job. They're trucking
Yeah.
bituminous out at night now.
Stan brought up about the mobile station. There hasn't been any activity there for quite some time. I mean, it's really an eyesore. I mean, that's one of the prime pieces of property on the Turnpike. And nothing is happening there. I mean, for quite a long time. I drive by there 3 or 4 times a day, and I never see any activity at all. Every once in a while, like they come in with a load of stone and they drop a load of stone, but there's nothing going on there. And it's been quite some time. It should have been done by now. I don't know what, what we could do about it, but at least have someone, building department, find out, if there's a timetable, to schedule that they're trying to meet, or.
The other thing, I spoke to Mike last week about the property between Walgreens and the Grantmore on the east side of the Berlin Turnpike. It's flooded because the culvert failed. That's a DOT culvert. And there's probably 3-4 feet of water in there. And all the trees are dying. And you've got the subdivision right behind it. And when those trees come down, they're gonna be looking right at the highway. Maybe something can be done with the state to light a fire and make a move. One concern was draining it. The rest of
What is the culvert under the turnpike?
it's
There's an old cattle pass under there.
Yeah,
It's always been wetlands, though.
right, but never this.
Well, we had a lot of rain. Maybe it's blocked up.
Well,
They
buckwheat
should-
is growing in it now, and
Yeah.
Morrison's gas station, there's an old cattle farm
Yeah.
underneath it, and it's loaded with stuff, and you can't get anything through it. The state's gotta go and clean it.
and they think if they do drain it, the other side may not be able to handle that excessive flow at the time, so. Something,
They let
something should be
it,
done
they let
before.
it go too long.
Okay, we'll look into that.
But they're advertising the piece as a commercial piece of property.
Yeah, but it's not built, yeah, it's floodplain, it's not buildable.
Floodplain,
I mean,
wetlands.
I think that whole subdivision in the back, everything drains into
Yes.
that parcel.
Yeah,
So,
And that might be since,
yeah, I've always wondered why they have a sign there, it's like, please buy our property. Okay, any other remarks by commissioners? Seeing none, I have no closing remarks and have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
second,
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed?